right, Poodle fam, here we are, Wednesday. We have a good one today, our weekly show. So, some fun stuff. This is episode 53. Do you know what that means? That means we have gone through 52 straight episodes every week, every single week for a year. This show has gone on, and it has gone all the way through every show for a week, not missing a single week. And now this is the official start of year 2 for the Poodlecast. Year 2. It is amazing to think how the show has gone and developed, and the token has gone and developed over this last year. Because here's the thing, like I've said this before, I started just the Poodlecast as a community member, someone who wanted to give back and just help out, right? And however I could help get the word out. And so next thing you know, we're here, fast forward a week, and I have just now gone through the KYC process of basically saying, here's me, you get screwed over, come and arrest me, tell all the authorities what happened, and we know that Poodle is a safe one, and that won't happen, but went through the process, which I would have never thought a year ago. I'd be sitting here also now as an admin, so I got to stop saying I'm just a community member, but I'm always a community member at heart. So all we are is a community token, and what I love about us. And so we are here today with a very, very, very special guest. So with no further ado, no one wants to hear me talk. We all want to hear him talk. So I am going to go ahead and introduce Rob, CEO Seek Token. Please tell everyone who you are, what you do, your there's so much to talk about, but let's start with a hello. Who are you?
How are you, Joe?
Hey. So tell everyone about yourself.
Good. Yeah. Rob Browning, most people know, or if around Poodle, any length of time, I guess, I've been around, but I am the founder and CEO of Seek Token. Formerly Rug Seekers, right? We dropped the old rug thing because of all the negative connotation tied to it, and basically we're a security project. I mean, we come from the same bones that Poodle has, old rug pool. We come from some of those same bones, and formerly involved with some bad people that scammed us, and so we decided to do something about it. And that's kind of where we've gone. We've evolved, and of course, into many things and many faces since then. But that's who we are in a nutshell. We're just a security-minded project. It's all about a safe space.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So let's talk a little bit. So the background. So you were basically had a project that was rugged, or did you recover the rugged project? Like, so talk about when you sit there and go, I'm tired of this. How do we fix it? Like, go through that process.
Well, Nicole, Carl, and we go back, longer than Eric's the baby of the group, right? He's the newest of the 4 originals. But Eric and Carl and I were investors in different groups together, Gem Wealth, and we were, very, very early in Baby Doge. I was wallet number 5 in Baby Doge at one time. So it tells you, what we were doing. But and so we got into a project, and we kind of took on a marketing kind of role with them. They were a new team, new dev team, and they had doxed, to us somewhat, fake docs, by the way. But of course, what you know, right? And so, but to make a long story short, we've got a lot of people involved, and we got a lot of people to invest. And then at launch, a bot got in, and they panicked. They sold their bags, and we were stuck holding the whole telegram together, and we had no control of the contract. So what happened. I spent the entire day getting people out. I had about $8,600 involved, and when I finally got to sell my bag at 7:00 that night, it was $86, and I ended up giving half of that away later. So so that feeling, if you've ever had it, it's you can't really describe it except for to say that it's it's almost like a funeral, And so we spent the next few days devastated, and I finally had enough and said, I'm either going to leave this space entirely or do something about it. And that's when we decided, Rug Seekers was the best path, and started just vetting projects for ourselves. And then our friends would come along and say, hey, can you look at this? And we'd say, yeah. And then we'd have people we didn't know come in. And before you knew it, we had a community, And so And we ran for a while without a token, without even thoughts of a token. We were just vetting projects and calling out scammers, and then of course they have millions and we have thousands. So, we had to do something to generate revenue. And so that's where Seek came in, so.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's really interesting. So it's funny that you say that about, have you been rugged? And I've said this kind of on the show before, early on, both kind of once at the beginning of the show, especially when I first kind of got into the altcoin, meme coin thing. And then again, about 6 months, 8 months ago, where I did 2 tests. One was for buying 10 tokens, another was buying 30 tokens, where I just bought them, put some money in, and wanted to see what would happen, right? And I think, and I don't remember the exact numbers, but I want to say it was only one of the 10 ended up actually being legit, the other 9 rugged. And out of
space,
and out of the 30, I want to say I was a little luckier. I think it was like 4 that actually, didn't necessarily, they obviously didn't make it, but they were legitimate projects that were at least trying to do something, right? Good or bad investment, they were at least trying to do something. And the others were rugged. Like that was the percentage. And then I think back when I was first getting into, the alt things, it was like, you don't know, right? How are you as a new investor? It's like, how do you know who to trust, right? Because everyone appears legit at the beginning because all you're doing is looking for information, right? You just want to make a safe bet on a token, right? And so that's why I respect what you are doing to say, okay, we're going to vet that. We're going to, make this our purpose. Talk a little bit about the process. How did you even then go to say, start this, we're going to vet? And the second part of that, of course, I tell myself all the time, don't ask 2-part questions, but I'm about to do it. What then should an investor be looking at? I know we're going to get to KYC, we're going to get to the shield thing in a minute, but let's just say you're just entering the space. What are those things?
Well, what I did, right, was I thought, great, there's no algorithm that existed, right? There was no software, there was no coin sniffer, none of that was around then. We were the only people really doing this. And, so we were fighting scam when it wasn't cool, and so that's what we say a lot. But so I took what I knew were about the last 30, 40, 50, I don't remember the exact number, but it was a lot of failed contracts. And I wanted to see technically what those things had in common, solidity wise, right? In the code, what functions did they share? And then I equally took 8 or 10 projects that I knew were, like you said, not guaranteed to be financially 1000x projects, but they were legitimate. They were trying. And I thought there has to be some sort of algorithm you can develop here to see where they're alike, what are their differences, and what's just static and what makes the difference, right? So we put that together, and lo and behold, we started batting about 98%, on that algorithm. So I thought we could be onto something here. And then, of course, as you must always do in this space, we evolve. So that was the how, was making that algorithm together based on the good versus the bad, and then changing things in our score as the time evolved, because doxing used to be the thing. Now doxing is irrelevant. I mean, you could have you could might as well get in a cereal box and print up an ID, than the dox. But so, we found that identity is important, and so different things. But the new investor, if you could only ask one question and one question only to a project, it's, who is the lead dev, right? Find that out. You can usually find that out by looking on the website or in the TG room. And then to ask the simple question of who controls the contract, who has the keys, right? Is it you, the CEO, who I'm looking at here face to face, or is there a dev somewhere in South Africa or deep in the woods of Australia that has the secret code, right, to your contract, and he's the one that makes the changes, and then he comes in like a thief in the night, and we all end up wrecked. So if it could just be one question, that would be the most important question, because that's where we've seen the most damage done, right, is rogue devs. And even other devs blame rogue devs, even the ones that are part of it. Oh, it was this one guy, this one bad actor, when the truth is they were all involved. So we want to find out who holds those, make sure the world knows who they are. And then from there, it's use your best judgment, try to find places like Seek, try to find people like Poodle. You don't hang around, you don't run around with dogs. So you're probably not going to have fleas, so, try to be around like-minded places, like the SOS, try to hang in places where, there's at least safety in numbers and people that come together for a common cause. So I mean, I couldn't imagine being the one shady project in the SOS, how the others would sniff you out,
Hmm.
and so, but I think that if there were 8 projects that were all scammy, the one project that wasn't would just get absorbed by it. So
Yeah.
the key is to have safe, vetted, KYC people projects, and to make it safer for the investor, because we found that most investors, they're simply not going to do the research. And no offense, they're just simply not. I mean, we learned that early on we could vet contracts for people, Scooby Doo NU, and we'd say that's probably not a solid investment. I would probably pass, and they would come back in 10 minutes with ice pick NU. I mean, we would go, wow, they're just getting more shit coins. So
Hmm.
we just had to really kind of watch. That's when we decided we had to start telling people about who's good. You know,
Mm.
not just can we say this is bad, but this is bad. But if you like NFTs, Poodle loves NFTs, so
Yep.
they do this. If you like, AI, then there's this project that does AI. If you like to gamble, there's alternatives to gamble.nu. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So we don't want you to get wrecked, and so we found some places, from kissing a lot of toads and fighting through a lot of garbage, that there are some alternatives here that people can at least, we call them alarm. I told somebody in your room today, it's alarm clock crypto, man. I mean, that's what it is. These groups
Yeah.
are alarm clock crypto, Poodle, Snafu, iLotto, AD, Astro Donkey. And what I mean by that is you don't have to set your alarm clock to 3 in the morning to see if your bag's still there.
Yeah.
Can't guarantee you 50x, but I can guarantee you that if you look at Poodle at 3 a.m., the money's not going to be hidden somewhere in Portugal with Sasha, right? It's going to be in the contract. So
Yeah, that's very interesting, because I think one of the things that I think is a strength, where a lot of other tokens and a lot of other telegrams would be, they want you to pretend that they're the only thing that exists, right? And not that we don't either, right? I mean, I still think back to the first times I was on the Telegram, a little over a year ago. And of course, if anyone ever came in and had a name of a different token as their thing, you were like, okay, boot this person out, right? But I think it's strength that we can build these partnerships together, right? And if you think about kind of that, even just from that crypto legends out, that I think that was a big turning point kind of for us. And SOS is this, again, this group and this collaboration of, hey, like you said, the word used was like-minded, right? Like that, the sense that we all have a specific utility, something we believe in, something that we want to focus on, and we can all live together, right? We can all be successful together. And I think that's a key, because also, if I were a new investor, I would give comfort in going, look, I don't really know. I might, I don't know who to trust, but wow, if these other tokens all trust this person, then maybe I could too. Right? Your thoughts there?
right.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. There is that. I mean, we don't, Sasha says it best, and I kind of stole it from him. So, we're not competing, more than complementing one
Mm,
another, and that's the thing, is that we're not in competition. The days of being a Doge maxi or a SafeMoon maxi, those are over. Most holders hold multiple tokens. I think the last little, off the wall survey, if you believe that stuff, was that most hold between 12 and 14.
yeah.
So to think that, we were like that too. Don't mention another token, don't say it, don't do that. And we found that it had no effect on our chart when we allowed it as when we didn't.
Yeah.
So we were also picky about it. We don't want someone coming in that's, promoting or shilling some garbage that we haven't looked at. And that was another reason for the SOS, was because I don't necessarily, just because, Poodle's in, our ecosystem, I don't necessarily think that, ABC token should come to Poodle and shield their token.
Yeah.
That's the SOS's job. You want to come to Seek and do that, by all means, do it. Now, if Seek and XYZ have a partnership or an agreement on some outing, then sure, shill it. But don't just randomly drop in, and be respectful, and that's, but you can do anything you want in the SOS.
Hmm.
That's our walled off garden, right? That's the umbrella. And and we'll play gatekeeper to that. We'll
Yeah.
watch the door and make sure that nobody infiltrates and gets in that's not, doing the right thing. We've already had to call one person, out politely, and That usually means you get to talk to me, one-on-one. Sometimes I'm not this nice. I mean,
Hey, with all of our, you've been nice every time we've talked. So,
yeah, well,
but
you're not scamming anybody.
well, see, there we go. So it's interesting too. So even just getting to the relationship between even Poodle and Seek, you've recently did an airdrop. Like, so what other token buys other tokens and then gives it to their holders? I mean, that is really incredible. So talk about that aspect of your project.
Yeah, I mean, it's our SSD utility, which stands for Seek Safe Drop. And so what we did was to say, not only is it enough to say that not that we trust these projects, but we trust enough that we'll invest, that we'll invest our revenue, part of our revenue model into these projects. And then we have no use for Poodle token, as a project. We do as holders, right? But as a project, we don't want to hold big amounts of Poodle. So we give that back to our top 300 holders, and we exempted my wallet, unfortunately, and they exempt the obvious wallets, Pancake and whatnot, the contract wallet and different things. So and the reason it's the top 300 is we want to create some pressure for, it created some friendly competition in the middle to raise our floor price. So if we're going to buy other tokens, we want those partner groups to come in and hold a Seek bag, of course, to get some of their own token and to help us generate volume so we can buy more of their token. And then we airdrop them to the top 300, and that creates that little floor, and as we move, if we got somebody asking you, if you get 10,000 holders, 300 is not fair. I said, no, it will move to 10, 12%, just, as we grow. So we want to keep it fair. And then every third drop is Seek, and that goes to the whole pool. Everyone, you're only left out for the SSD, and you're not left out. We're helping you build even your small bag, right? Mm-hmm. So even, when we saw that our floor went from, when we started the SSD, 14,000 tokens, was the number 300 wallet, and then the last night when we dropped, it was 17,000. So we did raise the floor price. So it had some effect. So yeah, it's working. And the most important thing of all, it was we dropped a little over $6,000-7,000 of Poodle to holders, and I instantly went to your chart, because I didn't want to. I know what to look for, right? The dumping when you do an airdrop, but because we've advertised it that they're going to repeat and be often, I saw people adding to bags. I saw people that we dropped $17 to buying $27 more, or people we dropped $9 to bought 41 more to make it even 50. So so we didn't see that. So it's working, and we want to continue to grow on it and stick around, because that's the thing, is Poodle will repeat. We're going to repeat that, and so that helps us to build some generational type wealth and of safe projects. So you just hold Seek and stick around the ecosystem, and you can gain these 6 or 7 vetted KYC checked tokens and grow yourself some generational wealth. Because I got to tell you, you got dropped $100 worth of Poodle last night. If you added even 1/10 of your old market cap to that's a very sizable bag.
Yeah. Yeah.
So much less if you got to your all-time high of 60 million again, so.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I'm not going to lie. I liked it when my phone notification hopped up and showed that I just had some airdrop Poodle to me. I'm like, hey, all right. That's a nice bonus. When do you see that happen every day? So,
that's right.
So I'm a proud holder of both. And, and I think that, we all should support one another, because it makes us all stronger. So then, getting to, the latest thing, I've got my own little shield now. I got a KYC shield. Look at that. It is, I'm not going to tell you, I'll tell everybody here. You got to send some legitimate ID in, like, for this. Like, there is no hiding who I mean, I think I was on your AMA when I yelled out my own home address. So it's not like I was really hiding anything before, but you really have to show who you are and that you legit are this. There's no way around it. I felt like I was going through a federal, high, clearance, military clearance or something. So talk a little bit about what is a KYC part and what does it take for someone to be vetted through that?
Well, KYC, it's an acronym, obviously means know your customer. I don't like that too much. I know Sasha's not a fan either. it should be more KYT or something, know your
Mm-hmm.
team or know the project, but because we're not really customers, we're more the vendor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, that's an old banking term stolen from banking, U.S. banking years ago, where everybody KYC'd, and when docs actually meant something legal. And so, but it just meant that you knew who you were doing business with. And the more and more as internet became big, KYC became more and more you know a part of every day, especially if you had an online payment or something of that nature. KYC was part of it. So we entering into this space, the normal KYC, the U.S. banking KYC, really hasn't. It's not very fundamentally fit for crypto space, right? So what we do is we've taken what we saw was a great KYC process, and we've added some things to it, right? So, and even since your KYC, we've implemented 2 additional security measures, and we've also ended a partnership with a launchpad because of some differences. So, we're about security. We're about doing it the right way. We're not going to cut corners and dodge the truth. And so yeah, the without giving you the special sauce, just know that now when you click on our Google Doc, there might be an embedded IP tracker in those.
Mm.
And so if you're trying to pull a scam, you want to go somewhere else, and that's okay. If you've got a VPN, we're going to make you take that down so we can really find you.
Hmm.
So that's just the way we are. Sorry about the dog whining if you can hear.
No, that's good.
So anyway, yeah, and then we've got some new AI stuff coming out with facial recognition, some biometrics. So we want to just make sure that people know who they're dealing with, because we found that from checking and vetting contracts, we can take a great contract and make it scammy, and we can take a very terrible contract and make it legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
So it becomes more about the identity behind the actor behind the mask and who's behind the curtain. So as evolving forward, we think that will be the only recourse we have to regulation in the space,
Mm-hmm.
is through identity. And we understand it's DeFi, and we take a lot of grief sometimes for, you want to expose everybody. No, we just want to expose devs. I think that you have a right, Joe, as an investor, you have the absolute right to be behind the curtain. The minute you throw your hat into the arena of you're now on a dev team, you kind of lost the right.
Yeah.
You're asking for people's money, and so therefore you should be. How would you feel if you took this week's paycheck to your local bank and the teller was wearing a ski mask?
Yeah.
And you couldn't see the manager because he was behind a locked steel door and wouldn't come out. So the same thing should apply here. We just need to raise the standard, and it's us investors who must raise the standard. No KYC, no money. If you're not legitimate, you won't come forward before launch, not at a certain market cap, then you can't have my investment. And if we make that the rule, we'll see a change in the space.
Yep. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it's funny. So I just wrote an article that'll be coming out for one of our other partners too, who's kind of doing the same thing, and high on security. And I said this one thing about DeFi at all. It is simultaneously completely anonymous, yet at the same time completely transparent, right? Every transaction can be tracked, yet at the same time, anyone anonymously can do it, right? But you can't do that when you go do a bank account, right? And in fact, in normal banking, we actually think of it the other way. I don't want anyone to know where my money is going, yet you have to prove your identity before they open the account for you, right? And so we flip it in the crypto space, right? If I want a new wallet and I could do it in 2 seconds, right? I can walk on MetaMask and open it up and go, here, click me a new wallet. I've got one, right? That you can't do in standard banking. You have to prove your identity, which is why I love you're saying that this is about identity first, because, even if we look at Poodle as a, as a project, it was created as a rug pull, right? It was us who had to save ourselves from, the detriment that was going to come, and we did, and it made us stronger. So you can't judge it based on how was it created. It's who was it who stepped up, right? Who stepped up and said, we believe in what the purpose is, regardless of what the original dev did, hence new contract, hence all of that stuff, and you can move forward. And I love that. Where do you see it going then? Like, do you think that we will have to, as general even investors or project owners, will there be regulation to prove who you are in the future? Or is it something, just general thoughts?
It will be self-regulation, just like U.S. banking, right? If you know anything about the U.S. banking economy or system, there's no entity, right? There's no government body that has the say so on U.S. banking. It's a regulated space. So now the self-regulators are held to a standard, right? But the U.S. banking, the government here says you're doing a fine job. You just keep doing it, and we'll watch over here, right? So that's kind of what I think what crypto is going to become, is that it's going to require self-regulation, and that's where we've always been, is where we would just like to be part of the conversation when they show up. And we have been, talked to the FBI several times, worked with them on multiple projects. I kind of have a bat phone, so to speak, to an agent in New York, and he's part of the task force. So really honored to be able to talk to him and do that. And then, we've talked to the SEC a couple of times. So at least we're the phone's ringing. At least they're asking, like, what do you do? But it's to show how far they're behind, right? On the first call I had with the FBI and the SEC, there were 6 people on the call, not including myself, and they asked me what a honeypot was, and I kind of giggled, like, yeah, funny, but they were serious because they really didn't know. They had heard the word, but didn't really know what that was, and I thought, wow, they're really behind, and so that's kind of what we're facing. So is it coming? Yeah, I think so, but I think it's going to be self-regulating. I think it will have to come through two things you can do. You can slow down the validation process, or you can do it through identification.
Yeah.
There's no other way to do it. Slow down all these instant verifications, make it take 15, 20, 30 minutes somewhere where some supercomputer can look at it, right? And where it has to pass through some sort of, algorithm. And then it's okay, kind of like Bitcoin does on some stuff, right? And or do it through identity, which is to say, if you're a project owner, you're in this space, it's mandatory that you do X, Y, and Z, so, and we.
Uh-oh, he just froze, and I don't know if it's my internet or his, but there you go. You just froze, and I don't know if it was your internet or mine. So here we go.
Yeah,
we're back.
No,
but
yeah, good. No, I was just saying that Bitcoin would fail a CertiK audit. Couldn't pass. Couldn't. I mean, completely. It could be a honeypot, could be a rug pull, could be all that. But so if that's and people say, well, that if Bitcoin can run this contract, I can too. No, Bitcoin is a little different, right?
Yeah.
Owner walked away, renowned. You can't. There's nothing that can be done with Bitcoin. So in this space, we can control certain things. Like when Joe, probably when you first got in, and I did, renouncing contracts was probably a normal process. People used to say, "Is the contract renounced?" And they'd say, "No." We'd go, "Ooh, bad idea." Right. But now if you renounce a contract, people want to run from you, and they should, because that means your project's frozen. And, if there's a problem, you can't get to it. So, things evolve, and I think we need to, and I think regulation will do the same thing.
Yeah, no, and you make a good point, which I will point you to another episode that I did where I talked about renouncing projects and how it is not necessarily the right thing to do. So completely right there. Now, just another question then, back to, again, continuing the KYC. I went through it, all of that stuff. What then happens? Okay, so that doesn't mean you just take our identity and just say, okay, everyone, here's who this is. What is the purpose then? Like, so what is the security measure that people should know that creates?
What that is we don't reveal identity anymore. We don't even make it public unless you would like it public that you even KYC. So it's stored away in our vault. Okay, which is offline, by the way, not on anybody's Telegram or not on anybody's computer that's hooked up and running the internet all day. It's vaulted, and so we take that off site and store the information in our vault, and it's to be locked away until, unfortunately, some bad actor will test the system and something will be done, and then we will come forward with a process of saying, here's what we've heard. We go to the actor first, give them a chance. Obviously, we want to gather as much data prior to that on the actual, nefarious act, then present the facts to them and let them know that we will make a statement about these facts, publicly in 12 hours, whatever the timeline is. And then if they do nothing, we'll make the statement. At that time, we'll release that in 12 more hours, we're going to release their identity.
Mm.
So, and it will give them a chance to make things right, because just exposing them and getting them, out there doesn't do anything to help the investor. It's like you see so many trials where people say, well, yeah, he was found guilty, but I don't feel any better.
Mm-hmm.
So if we could get some money recovered, that makes you feel better.
Yeah.
So we'll give them the opportunity to do that. And if not, then we'll make them as famous as we possibly can. We'll call in
Mm-hmm.
all of our resources and all of our friends and say, this is the actor that did this. And because they just sign, as you saw, there's a disclaimer on our Google Doc that says, if you commit a nefarious act, we intend to use your information.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't say that you weren't aware of that going in, that's where you were headed. So you control your own destinies, and it's so much easier to do it honestly. So join the club and be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah, I would rather be in the ecosystem than I would be on, to being sought out, somewhere, right?
Yep. No, absolutely. And I think that this is one of the things that I love your purpose, because this is what we saw, the big boom last year of all these tokens, all this stuff, everyone hoping they were going to be able to make some, and we all want to get rich off it. I mean, like, we all want to make money. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But just to know, how many times, we've been screwed over, and to know, okay, who are the people I can trust behind this, who say, I'm willing to put my reputation on the line and legally on the line, knowing this could be turned over to the FBI. It could be turned over to, whatever government, agency in what country they're in. Well, that has repercussions. It's going to make you as a project owner think twice, right? And also should say something if they would refuse to, let you know who they are. And, what I've said all along is, like, you cannot go and start a company without putting a public release of who owns the company, right? That's a standard practice. Yet in crypto, we're like, oh yeah, no, I'm going to keep quiet and silent and see, which just means they're just waiting for the pump to get out, right? And that is
exactly,
that should actually speaks volume to those who wouldn't want to do it. And Sasha put here in the chat, anyone, you should just buy only KYC vetted projects if you want to be safer, right? That's a good way to do that. And, that anyone who has control of the wallet, the main wallet, or the contract should be KYC'd, right? And anyone who has access to that. And I totally believe it. And that's why we as Poodle did that, because we want to tell everyone, look, we don't want to just stand up and say, we're the safest project in crypto. We're a safe project. But we want to actually show it and go, look, here's our actions. Here's what we've done. We're fully transparent. And now here's how who is in control of this. And like you said, you're not going to wake up in the morning and have to worry and check your wallet to see if all your stuff is still there. We know there's going to be a natural ebb and flow of a market, right? Prices go up, prices go down, prices go up. Hopefully they go up more, and they go up more, and they go up more. But that your value is going to be there, right? And we're not going to take it and run away with it. And the project can't even. So that's what I love that. One other thing is that I want to talk about, we're going to meet in person in about a month. So we're going to get that opportunity, which is going to be fantastic. You're going to the Metaverse Expo in Vegas. So we're going to be doing that at the beginning, the first weekend in Vegas. So talk a little bit about that. What are you going to speak on? What are you doing? What are you looking forward to with that?
They haven't given. I'm sure it's going to be security, right? So, I mean, I don't know anything else. I mean, what do I know about the metaverse, right? So, I can tell you how not to get hacked. So I'm sure it'll be that. TCG is one of our oldest trusted partners, and David Evans is a sweet guy, and all the guys there have always been respectful, and we wish them all the success in the world. But we have a spot in the alt city. We had before, when it was a crayon drawing, we had a spot in the metaverse, right? So. We're in the alt city in the east, and we are the gatekeeper for alt city. So if you're an altcoin and you like to come in after alt city is launched, you have to go through Seek. And we want to showboat our partnerships there. We want to showcase our education platform there, and another way to grow the SOS. And so it's really big. And then for them to ask me to come to Vegas and speak is a real honor. I mean, I feel like I'm not batting out of my league, like I do every time I talk to Sasha, right? And But yeah, it's a real honor, and it'll be great. I enjoy the noise I make, so it should be a treat. I get to hear me talk for an hour or so, and we're going to talk about Seek and about all of our projects. I can't talk about Seek without mentioning Poodle and Snafu and all the groups, and what we do, and because that's become our identity. So Yeah, it's fantastic. And then all I have to do is figure out, what steak you're going to buy us, and we're good to go, man.
You know what? Name the restaurant. We'll get set up well. We're gonna have there's some good eating in Vegas. We've got some really
You're
good,
right. Yes, you are.
you know,
That's right.
and I'm
Now
heading.
we're looking forward to it.
I'm heading there in 4 days, so I'm going to do some pre-partying for 8 days
Oh
in
man,
Vegas, then
nice,
come home,
nice.
try
Yeah.
to recover for 3 weeks before I hit Vegas
And then
again.
go back,
So,
right? You're going to preview. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So no, I'm looking forward to that. I love the fact that we can meet in person. And the funny thing is, it shouldn't feel like a big deal to meet somebody in the crypto space in person, because in all the rest of our industries we live and work in, meeting your people in person is a normal thing. But because of this crypto thing about being hidden identity, all this stuff, and that's why I love about, like, just again, your project and our partnership with you, now it feels natural. Look, I'm meeting these people. And one thing I did notice, and I've said this on the show, what's interesting, when I started getting into the NFT space and started going to a couple of the projects, and we're doing an NFT art gallery at USC where I'm at, the NFT people are not hidden, try to hide their identity, pretend you don't know who they are. They're very forward facing, right? They love being out there and saying, I'm in this and I own this NFT and I'm that. And I think that we can learn something from that. And the metaverse space is kind of like that too, even though, yeah, you enter it as an avatar, the people are behind it, right? And I think they definitely have that. And I think that's something that I think our crypto space needs to learn, right? That it's okay to be an investor and in something and not have to be, someone in the back, little dark corner, right? I think, and I think also that's a big deterrent to new investors, is because they think that that's what crypto people are.
Right. They do. We have a bad name. I mean, you say crypto to 90% of the population, they say scam. I mean, you're going to get you're going to get taken. You're going to get, it's not, and then it's always, well, it's not even real, right? So, it's education, right? But I do believe that the enigma, stigma, whatever you want to call it, attached with this behind the curtain, the Zorro type of, trading should be killed and squashed. I mean, we want to, we'd like to kill that and say, hey, it's, if you want to be known, great. If you don't, that's great too. But if you're going to be out front, it's not an option. You need to come forward and come out from behind the curtain so we can all see the odds, right?
Yep, 100%. And I think that is the thing that's going to make us all successful. And I think, again, builds public confidence, which is the one thing that crypto is missing right now, is that, especially after it had a big, crash, right? I mean, as right as we were building momentum, next thing you know, people are like, oh yeah, that's why I didn't go in. Yeah, well, come on, you didn't go in because, but the fact is, this is where we, and I think as projects that come together as a community, we can show, like, I think Poodle, one thing we're proud of, when the big crash happened, a couple weeks, 3 weeks, or however long it's been now, our value didn't change. That's pretty good, right? Just to hold level and say, people, look, we're the community, and that's what we've always believed in. So, so that being said, I want to start to close up, but I like to end on just opening it up for you. Advice. What can people know? I know you kind of started with if you have one question, what do you want to need to know? And that's the identity of the devs, but just general advice, direction, future. This is an open platform for you to this is your minute.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, thanks for having me in. It's been a real honor. I've been looking forward to it. I know the team's excited. I've had to hold Sarah back all day, We're talking about the space, but really just for people, it's like, it's okay to ask questions. I mean, it's okay to ask for help. I mean, but, the enigma, especially with some of our more testosterone driven people, right? Males, we get in that enigma that I'll be damned if I ask for help. And, I would rather you ask for help, beforehand than ask for guidance after, so let's talk about it while you still have your bag, and let's look at what you're getting into. And listen, we just want to teach you how to do it. I don't want to control or anything. If you don't know how or what you're looking at, come by, spend some time with us. You don't have to buy the token, spend some time in the room. We'll get into a chat, we'll get into a VC, and we'll tell you how to do certain things. We'll run it. That's what the metaverse is for us, this little clinic of how we can just teach people 24/7, because until there's something done with the identification portion, regulation of that, then, it's about education. So we want to educate people, and I'll talk to any person one-on-one or 10,000 at a time. It makes no difference. I would just We just want to get the people in the mindset of it's okay to ask questions. Ask them beforehand, and and follow your gut. If something tells you something's wrong, get someone else to look at it. Get another set of eyes on it. Come by Seek. And say, hey, I'm looking at such and such, and man, I got a vibe from this guy, and then that may open up something where we can, open you up to some safe projects in our, ecosystem, and bring you in under the umbrella instead of all this wondering and ifing and that alarm clock crypto again, right? So, the future is very bright. There's so much. I saw a post today from you guys even that there's so much going on. It's hard to even talk about it, and that we're in the same boat. There's just so much going on right now that it's hard to fit it into a 10 or 15, 20, even a 50-minute conversation. So the future is very bright for us and for the whole ecosystem, I believe. And Poodle, we can't wait for you guys. It could be any moment. We'll wait. It's like a ticking bomb when you're going to explode. And we have that same kind of feel here. So it's just really fun, to watch and to be a part of, and to watch other people experience crypto the way it should be. And that's fun. We should have fun doing this, and, socially, while making money and sharing life with each other, because that's what we do. Most of us spend more time with other people here than we do our own family sometimes. So, we might as well make it comfortable.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it is funny because my wife says that about me all the time. But she got to meet Sasha and Al in person, so there we go. She got to put some face to name, so that was fantastic.
I'm glad Elle was there. Woof, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah,
it could just been Sasha.
Yeah. Well, now I'm wondering how would it have been. Well, we drank a lot, so it would have been more. I don't know, but it was it's just fantastic, and I love this community. I love our partnership together, and our relationship with you. I appreciate it. I give a big thank you from Poodle on behalf of Poodle to you and your team. There's great things to come for both of us, all of us, and everyone in the ecosystem. We know that. We believe it. So last closing note, how can people find you, connect with you, and learn more about you?
We're easily found, at seektoken.net is our website. And then, of course, we have the Telegram, _ @seektoken3. And then, of course, our website, it directs you we have a link tree like most people. And so you can find us everywhere, and through our Reddit, KYC services, all kind of things. So, yeah, and the Telegrams, obviously. So, yeah, we're fairly easy to find. Just get online and type in Rug Seekers or Seek, and come on over.
Great. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to that steak dinner in a month. We will have it. I'm sure we will continue talking. And thank you very much for joining the show.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Boy, was that not amazing. Wow. Just such great information. I love this. I love everything that Seek is doing. I love everything that that Rob and the whole team is doing over there. And I love our partnership together. I think it's really important that we do this as a team. And the KYC process, we've covered so many things, but let's not underestimate the power of letting the world know your identity, because it is, as he already said, this is the one thing that's going to set projects apart. So, and how you as an investor can know whether or not you can trust what you're getting into. And that's what I wish I would have looked into when I first started getting into some of the altcoins and meme coins. So I think it's huge. I love it. And so everybody, closing it up for this week, do like, share, subscribe, tell 100 of your closest friends about the show. Share this one out. There's great information. We will see you on the socials over the next week. And again, next week, we're coming back, episode 54. See you, Poodle fam.